Today in History. It's time for our daily journey to the past, but before we check out on what happened exactly today, many years ago, let's give our listener a quiz.
All right, here it is. Our galaxy's name is number 1, the Milky Way, or number 2, milkshake. The question once again, our galaxy's name is number 1, Milky Way, or number 2, milkshake. A little tricky, perhaps.
Yeah, both could technically be food. One is like a brand name more than anything of chocolate.
Yeah, that's right. But only one correct answer, of
Yes.
course. So if you know it, you can put it on our Bundy board or text in on your cell phone, pounder sharp 1045 for 50 or 101, depending on the length of your text. And the prize this time is a 2015 casual planner.
I think that might come in handy in a couple of days. Send in your answers and let's go check out what the interesting events that happened on this day was.
Today in history. In 1924, Andromeda was classified as an independent galaxy.
네, 1924년 안드로메다. I always struggle with English words in Korean.
Yeah, Andromeda.
안드로메다 은하가요. 독립된 은하로 인정되었답니다.
Yes, today we take a look back at the conclusion of a debate that actually opened new frontiers in our understanding of the universe.
Yes, and that event was the classification of Andromeda, and this was as a separate galaxy by a man named Edwin Hubble on this very day, but many years ago in 1924.
That's where the Hubble telescope comes from,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yes, the Andromeda galaxy was first observed and recorded by the Persians even further back around 964.
Right. So just to give our listeners a quick recap, 방금 말씀드린 것처럼 1924년 허블, 에드윈 허블 씨가 먼저 일단 안드로메다를 독립된 은하로 구별하셨는데요. Way long time ago in 964 was the first discovery. But back then, Andromeda was considered to be actually not necessarily a galaxy, but just like a group of stars.
Right. By the late 19th century, though, Andromeda was considered to be a nearby object, and its name was M31.
It wasn't until Hubble in 1924 when he found out that it was a separate and totally independent galaxy, separate from our galaxy, which is called the Milky Way.
The Milky Way, right. So Hubble photographed the Andromeda Nebula from his telescope in California. Though science at the time had its limits, Hubble calculated the distance between the Earth and the stars as well as the components in Andromeda.
네, 허블 씨는요, 캘리포니아주에 있는 자신의 망원경으로 안드로메다 성운의 사진을 찍기도 했고요. 지구와 안드로메다 은하에 속해 있는 별의 거리까지 계산했다고 합니다. This transformed the idea of the universe, leading to future work by modern astronomers to determine that there were actually many more galaxies, around 100 billion different galaxies within the universe.
Wow, there's a lot.
That is a lot.
Isn't it? Now, okay, so we're going to wrap up today in history, but before we do, the answer to the quiz question. The question was, our galaxy's name is number 1, the Milky Way, or number 2, milkshake, and the answer, number 1, the Milky Way. That's going to do it for today in history. We'll be back tomorrow with more from the past.